Hi friends, welcome to Rita's Paper Motif. Today I wanted to share a different kind of video with you. We're going to make a folio, but before we get started, just quickly a few things I wanted to share. So know that this video I believe is going to be at least in 2 parts, if not 3. So know that you can, follow each part here on YouTube. And also my blog is a great place to get measurements or to find anything that really helps you to replicate or to recreate what we're going to start today. So also I wanted to, I wanted to tell you, you can go to thepapermotif.com, which is my blog, and there everything is there for you. Also, of course, here on YouTube. So if you're watching here on YouTube, please consider subscribing. And if you hit that notification icon, then you'll be notified of new content. Now, if you're watching here on Facebook, I have kind of backed off a little on Facebook as far as like videos. Everything is now a reel and it doesn't last for a long time. So what I like to do is let you know what's going on and then tell you where you can get the full version. So you will be aware of it also on Facebook, but it'll be more limited. Please consider following me on Facebook if you are on Facebook, and then you know you're in the know. So the other thing I wanted to tell you is right now we have this Cyber Monday thing going on. And as you all know, I really do like the paper pumpkin. I like it because it's a kit that's all inclusive. So when I share things with you, I could share the kit in its entirety as intended, or I can bring in other product from my craft room and make alternatives. So I've done both, and I love to share both with you. But I will say that the paper pumpkin subscription is a great idea, especially if you're just starting out, or maybe you don't have a dedicated space for your crafting, so you kind of got to be a little crafty with your craft space. So these kits are great because they all come in a box. Everything you need is in that box. And so once you're finished with it, then you have your finished product, cards or 3D projects or decor, whatever the paper pumpkin is. And you can keep the box or you can get rid of it, and you don't have to worry about storage. So they're great for that if you travel a lot but like to have something to do on your off time. These are great as well because they're all inclusive. If you're giving a gift, that's another thing for, it just kind of keeps the crafting different because each month is a different theme. And each month you get all of the supplies that you need for that particular project. So it's all around a great thing. So whether you want to give it as a gift or you want it for yourself, now is a great time to go ahead and subscribe because you save on a subscription. So whether you're saving on a 3-month, 6-month, or whatever, the savings is a really great savings. So I'm going to suggest that you go on over to the Paper Motif, and you can shop with me there, and you can look for the paper pumpkin. If you go to the home page at the Paper Motif, if you scroll down to the bottom, you'll see an icon that says paper pumpkin, and if you just click the button below, it'll take you right to where you need to go to subscribe. So I did want to just tell you that it is only till the 9th. If you wait past the 9th, then we're going into a new paper pumpkin kit, and the savings will not be there for you. So I'm just suggesting that you don't hesitate if you think this is something you might like. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Now, as I said, I'm for sure this is going to be a 2-part video. It might even be a 3-part. And I just want to tell you how this all came to be. So recently I have I really do like creating the folios. They were kind of like mini scrapbooks, and I also feel like I love scrapbooking. That's kind of how I started out paper crafting years ago, 30 years ago. And so I do know that sometimes people want just a small little photo album and or just a little project thing that they want, junk journal. I mean, they come in all kinds, all forms, right? So that is kind of nice. So I have recently come to like them because they make great gifts too. So recently I sent a Halloween themed folio to my great niece and nephew, and they loved it. So I left it kind of open-ended so they could do their own little artwork in it, or their mom could take pictures of them all dressed up, send it to the grandparents. I mean, what grandparent doesn't like pictures of their grandchildren, right? So I just left it open-ended so they really could do whatever they wanted to do. Well, long story short, I have also been reorganizing my craft space. We're getting ready for a new seasonal catalog coming up at the beginning of the year. And so I have some designer series paper and some items I want to use before that, because I like to use current things so that if you like that idea, you can recreate it. But I also don't want to throw away some of these things that I've had for a while, right? So it's kind of like, okay, now might be a good time to just use up all those scraps. And so that's what I decided to do. I also knew that I needed to be a good steward of my time, because Christmas is coming and I have a couple things that I wanted to do for my siblings. So one of them was, I do heritage scrapbooks as well, and I wanted to send them a mini version, because sometimes there's questions in the family. Do you have a picture of this? Do you have a picture of that? And I thought, well, let me just share some of these pictures with them. So I went looking for a folio that I thought would work for me, and I decided I'm going to make 3 of them for 3 of my siblings. And so I found one that May made, and I really liked it. She calls that the Trifold 3-page folio. So I made it, and I always like to do that. I like to make it just as it's suggested, because I'm always going to be tweaking something or changing something. And that's how we as paper crafters are. It is fine to case what we do, and then it's also fine for you to change it up however you want, right? So what I want to do today is show you the folio I made following her directions, and then we're going to start in the folio that I'm making. So we're not going to decorate the folio, I know that for sure, of the one I'm making, one of the ones I'm making. But if you were wanting to create the same thing, you could at least get to this point. As a matter of fact, you're probably going to want to redecorate it differently, right? And I also want to just start with a disclaimer. The papers that I'm using, the DSP, the designer series paper that I'm using, is most likely discontinued, most likely has been discontinued for a long time, or is part of a past paper pumpkin. But the idea is you can copy the folio and make it your own with whatever designer series paper you have, and then that's great, right? So I'm going to show you that folio right now, and this is one that I made thinking, I'm going to make it just as she did and see what happens. Well, it never comes out exactly as somebody made it, because you find things you want to do differently. But what I did is I started out, so her closure is much like this. Sometimes you'll find ribbon as a closure to close your folio. I'm going to use Velcro. And I'll tell you why I do deviate to Velcro, because I do know that there's a caution in using magnets with children, or maybe people that have pacemakers. Well, so I don't want to have to guess that. I don't want to have to deal with that. So I'll just use Velcro. I found some good Velcro that works for me, that is not doesn't make you grit your teeth trying to open and close it. So I'm going to use that in the end. So I want you to know that. But this is an older paper pumpkin piece of ephemera. It was for some cards. Here's one that I'm going to be using in the folio that we're making, and it's going to be for my sister. I'm going to use a variation of this. So we'll get into that probably in the next video, but I wanted you to see what my inspiration as we go is. So this is how the folio opens. And so I'm going to change this up on the next one that I make. And this one, she didn't have anything here that I can remember. I put a pocket because I knew this was an experiment. But I don't like how the pocket is, number one, and I'm going to zhuzh it up. So anyway, the folio opens like this. So thus you have the trifold, right? So 1, 2, 3. That's basically it. And so, when you open it, this is what you get. And then when you open it, you have this. So I did kind of make this as a little pocket. My idea was I would put our parents, pictures of our parents here, or I thought, well, maybe I'll put a picture of my sibling. So I think what I'm going to do is put a picture of my sibling on a page like this. I'm going to redo this and put a picture of our parents. And then I thought, you know what, it'd be great to put a copy of their marriage certificate or any other papers I want to share in a pocket like this. Well, obviously, not a lot's going to fit in there, right? Because it's too narrow. So I am going to change that up. But I just cut one of these out here, and I like the how they go together. And this part right here is part of a card base that went with these cards. And so you can see the gold trim. So in the one that I'm going to do for my sister that isn't a trial, I am going to maybe be using some gold. I don't know. When I think of vintage, I think of more rustic material. So we'll see how that goes. But anyway, so then when you open that up, maybe I put like a little corner pocket here. And I'm thinking, this is great. I would have rather had it gusseted, but then I'm thinking how I think is I could put some stuff here, like some tags. But I want it to be, I'm probably going to design it a little differently. And then here is some ephemera that came with a paper pumpkin. Oh, it's been a while. And so I put that just there just to kind of look at it. I like these colors. Those are also kind of vintage-like. And I think I'm going to use those for my brother's book. And then some of these colors I am going to use with my sister's book. So I'm really just getting a feel for how it looks. It's a little disjointed as far as I'm concerned right now, but I'm working out the bugs, right? And then these are pockets. So this was an 8.5 by 11, and you'll see when we work on the other one. So here are some pockets that I was going to put tags in, and I decorated them with the envelopes from that particular paper pumpkin, and here's a card base, and then just some random stuff I had. So I did that, and then here's a waterfall, and I'm going to do that a little differently. This I did with, you know, basic white cardstock, and it does make it heavy. It is substantial, but I'm going to take one of May's ideas, and I'm going to just use my designer series paper instead of that cardstock, so that it just because it could be a little bit lighter. And also these are 8 flaps, so I'm not sure if I'm going to use 8 flaps or not. We'll see. And then here is the other side of that folio. I did put strips on the inseams, but I don't, it's just got a little disjointed because the weight wasn't distributed right. So I'm going to see if that's what I still need to do. And then you can see here where I pieced together an envelope. So I don't like that. So that was one thing I realized I couldn't do very well. And then here are some more ephemera from that paper pumpkin. And so that is how it looked. I did not decorate the back, which I will, but you can see these, the spines is where I said inseams, but I meant spines. Here's where I tried to put them on as an afterthought, and it kind of doesn't work because you can't get it flush because you've already got weights on it, right? So I learned to do things a little bit differently. So let me go with you and show you where I am right now, and you know, hopefully that'll make a little more sense. I want to show you some of the things that I am going to be using hopefully today. So this, I want this to be kind of like my closure on my folio, because I think it looks vintage. I like it. Anyway, so I'm going to use that for sure. And you know, or I might cut this out and put it on here. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do, which one I'm going to do. I'll probably end up using both of these anyway because I have 3 books to use. Now this is some of that paper that I had, that I've had for a while, so you can kind of see what it's like. So there's looks like, it reminds me of wallpaper. I used to see in my aunt's house a lot of this like paisley wallpaper. So I just feel like that's very vintage. And then I had this, it came in a big roll. I don't know where I got it. It's called ribbon. So I don't know where it came from, but I'm going to try and use it. And then I have some other pieces that I'm going to use here, like these, and we'll just go through them. I don't want to get them kind of out of order because that's kind of how I work here. So I did want to show you my inspiration for the colors, and that was this. So this is part, you know, I've obviously used parts of this. So it kind of looks like maybe something that came, it's kind of a little bit flimsy, so it might have come like as a whole 8.5 by 11 with this in it. But I am going to take some direction from some of the items that are here, like the buttons. I have a ton of buttons. I'll use that up. And I've been wanting to use a die cutting, some die cuts I have, so this will work perfectly. And I'm sure I have lace. If not, I definitely have some ribbon. So I'm going to be using those kinds of things. So let's go ahead and get started with those pages. Like I said, this is going to be a 3-parter. Now you will need a trimmer, and possibly if you don't have a trimmer that scores, then you're going to want a scoreboard. Now these trimmers were on sale. We had a fantastic Black Friday sale, and they just went off the shelves like a wildflower. So I know it wasn't just a couple days before they were all out of stock. So the basic white paper was in sale, and that went out of stock quickly. The ink refills, I mean, it just flew off the shelf. So when we have these sales, it's a good thing to, you know, head on over and take advantage of it. But anyway, long story short, so you're going to need 3 pieces of 8.5 by 11. Now I am using Early Espresso because remember, that's kind of my thought. And so let's take the very first piece that we have. Now I've already scored this, but I'll go over it with you. I could definitely score it again. So this is 8.5 by 11. And so you're going to need to extend your arm because we're going to be doing some different kind of, or some different measurements. So I'm just moving some of my stuff out of the way here. But this, you're going to put the 11-inch side at the top, and then we're going to begin scoring at 4 inches. So I'm just going to measure 4 inches, which is right there. I like to put mine right up on the line, and then I'm going to take my scoring blade and score it. Now our cardstock is a good weight, which is great for those folios, because if your cardstock is lightweight, you're going to find it it doesn't hold up very well. So for folios, so there we go. That's 4, and then we're going to move it to 4 3/4. So that's 4 3/4. We're going to score it again, and I'm going to move this to the side because I like to cut and score all of my stuff before I start. Because once I get going, my tabletop, my crafting station, I don't want to have to move stuff to the side to get something out to score or cut it. So I try to do that. I'm not always successful, but that's what I try to do. And then we're going to take another 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock and the 11-inch side at the top again. Now this has a few scoring measurements, so we're going to start at, let me see, at 3/4 of an inch. So there's 3/4 right there. So we're going to 3/4, and I'm going to hold this down and go ahead and score. And I really try to make sure that my paper stays straight. It's kind of hard when it's that way. You could flip it over and do your 3/4 on this side, but sometimes for me that's not the easiest. Sometimes it is. It's probably like the weather, right? And then we're going to go to 1 1/4. So here's 1, and there's 1 1/4 right there. So I'm going to go ahead and score again. And then I'm going to score at 7.5. So we'll just move on over to 7.5. And we're going to score. And then 8 1/4. So there's 8, and here's 8 1/4. Score again. So we have 2 of our sheets, 2 of our 3 already scored. And then this is the last 8.5 by 11 that we're going to do. And we're going to score it at 4 3/4. So 4 3/4 right there. And score. I don't know what I was doing. Daydreaming, I guess. And then at 5. So that's a very narrow score line. Now, I have cut all the other pieces that we're going to be needing today, but I'll go over them with you. And so we're going to go ahead and move our trimmer to the side. Let's go ahead and get our bone folder and go ahead and fold and score all those lines. So this one is the tricky one because it's got the very narrow spine. Now, something I like to do, because it's happened to me many times, is I like to make sure that these the cardstock is flush, because you can, not meaning to, you can get kind of off on your scoring, and then it won't be even. So there's that. And now we're going to get the other score line, which is like what, 1/4 maybe. It's not, there's not very much room between them. And so you know, sometimes it helps to take your ruler and just put it up against that score line and move your paper up, and that kind of does help. And then you can come with your bone folder and secure that. But sometimes when the like the spine is so narrow that and you can see what I meant. Sometimes the score mark is so narrow that you really and we do want to make sure this is even. Okay, there we go. That's good. So we're going to put this to the side, and then we'll get our other 8.5 by 11 that we've scored, and we're just, all of the fold lines, we're just going to go ahead and score. And so I know that this is going to take me a minute, so you can watch, and I'll just jabber with you for a little bit. Now, you know, I did Christmas in September, so all of my Christmas cards are actually went out in the mail yesterday. They were all ready to go by the end of September, so that's a done deal. But I have just a few little things that I'm trying to catch up on and get done before Christmas. This is a really busy time for me because I have a couple, I want to say 4 friends, and we get together and we do a lot of baking and share it with maybe those people that are short on time during the season, or, you know, maybe they're a little short on cash, and so we just, you know, get together so that we can just treat them. That's the basic thing, is we're just treating. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Now, I'm going to tell you what you want to do is you want to get your adhesive, and you can use whatever adhesive you want. You could use liquid glue, you could use your seal, your Stampin' Seal, or you could use your tear and tape. Because I'm doing this on video, I am going to use the liquid glue. However, these that I don't always do on video, sometimes I like to use the tear and tape, and I'll tell you why. Because the that narrow spine sometimes can get kind of messy with the glue, right? So we're going to take that sheet, or that 8.5 by 11 sheet that had the score marks. Let's see, the score marks that were at 3/4, 1 1/4, and 7.5 and 8 1/4. Okay, and we're going to adhere that on here like this. So we do not want the spines to be adhered together. We just want the bottom here to go right like that, okay? So let's go ahead and put our glue on the back here. The other reason that I use glue, the liquid glue, when I'm doing videos, because it's just easier for video's sake. But I tend to maybe use too much glue if I'm not careful. So, or it gets all over me, and then I have to be super careful that I don't get it all over everything. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to fold this down so that I can see what I'm doing, because I don't want to put it on that score line. And I want it to be flush. So once I have it down, then I'm going to hold it up here so that I can make sure that it's flush. And I'm also going to take my bone folder and I'm going to just go ahead and press down so that we get that stuck down there. And I'm going to be looking to see if I have any adhesive that's oozing out. I don't see any. But now's a good time to clean it up. And so I did feel like something was on here sticky. Because if you let it sit, then you're going to have marks. And see, when I was doing mine, there it is. Those are the kinds of marks. And no one wants to see that on there. Something that they took a lot of time to do. So, okay. So we've done this. And now we want to do this piece that's here, right? And this is going to, now I have to think about this. Okay, so let's see here. What are we going to do? We are going to, this is going to go like this. And this is going to go like this. So we are going to glue this like this. Okay, so I have to think about this. I want to be right. So we already have this done. We already had that done. So here, so this is Good thing I looked, right? So we could see that this is the part, this right here is this part. So we want to glue this right on here. And that's why it's good to make these ahead of time, because then you get it right. So let's go ahead. It would have messed up if I hadn't looked at my example, right? And I do know that sometimes it's kind of hard to be watching somebody and doing the same thing, because they have worked it out. So, all right. So we're going to go ahead and put this right here on this line right here. We want it flush again. And I'm going to go ahead and with my bone folder push it down, because if there's glue coming out, I want to get it cleaned up. And then we're going to do the same here. All right, so now we have our folio is done, right? Let's go ahead and do the inside part. So this is the part that I decided, so this is this part right here. I thought I would just put a piece right here, and I'm thinking I don't know if I want to make it a pocket or not, but this is what I cut out. So we know that this is 8.5, so this is going to be 8.5, and this is some of that designer series paper that I've had forever. So I don't know if I want to just leave it like that, or I want to use this. This seems a little bit gaudy, so I think I'm going to cut it. But I think I am going to make it as a pocket, and then I'll put some tags in there. So if we're going to make it as a pocket, we're just going to put glue around three sides, okay? And this is older paper. So sometimes you can get those little fuzzies because maybe it wasn't like the best paper, right? So I'm still thinking about this, so I'm not going to put it on just yet, because if I use it, I am definitely, oops, too much glue there. I am definitely going to cut it down. It's too wide and kind of too gaudy. So I'm just thinking, I did kind of want to use it. So let's see. So we're going to just go ahead and adhere this on. I want it flush. Okay. And if I did use it, maybe I could cut it apart. How about if we use it that way? Let's use it that way, because yeah. Okay. Now this feels kind of felty, but this is going to be for my sister, so it's okay if it's a little frilly. She's not always a frilly kind of person, but all right, so let's just go ahead. I'm just going to put some glue on these bigger spots. And I hope that you like the folios too. You know, you can take some of these and if you're just a card maker, you can adapt some of the ideas to card making too. We're going to be making some tags and putting them in, so that's another thing. This, I'm making 3, so I really do need to get on with it. So welcome to share my space here. So let's see. I don't know about this felt. I definitely am not going to be using it on my brother's album. I don't know that he'd be offended, but I'm thinking of what I might want to use on his. If I like how this turns out, then I'm going to use the same pattern over and over. So let's go ahead and put this down. And I can always cut whatever doesn't fit, right? Okay, maybe that's better than trying to make it. I wanted it to be an edge, but maybe this is better. So let's just go ahead and cut what's hanging off. Let's see here. I'm sorry, I do have to put this closer to me because I don't want to cut my folio. Okay, note to self, this is not the most user-friendly material, so maybe that's why I didn't ever use it. Okay. All right, so there's that. Now on this second page, I wanted to put a pocket here. And so I'm going to do that. I'm going to also clean this off a little. Okay, so what I was thinking for the pocket was just to put some of this paper. I had a lot of this paper. I'm going to show you. I want to show you what I have. Let's see here if I can do this. Do you see all of this? This is what I pulled. So I have a lot of papers like this. I have a lot of these like wallpaper parts too. And so that's what, oh, here they are right here, look. So a lot of these. So that's what I'm trying to use up. So I thought maybe I could just put this like this. And so well, let's put that there. While we're doing that though, sorry, I'm not trying to jump all over the place, but we're going to be making some pockets. So I want to put those together before we fold all the sides, all right? So I'm going to tell you the measurements of these pockets. You're going to need 3 of them. And this one here, made out of the Early Espresso, is 6 7/8 by 6 1/2. So 6 1/2 is going to be the number to remember. So it's scored on 3 sides at 1/2 inch. All of the pockets are scored 1/2 inch on 3 sides. So if I wait till I make the pocket and put it on my folio, it's going to be too hard to decorate. That's what happened with when I did that on this folio. It was definitely hard, and see how you can't really, it's just easier to decorate them before you put them on. So that's what we're going to do. So this is the biggest pocket, and I did tell you that this one is 6 7/8 by 6 1/2, and you I did score it 1/2 inch on these 3 sides. So I then took a piece of it's actually this paper because I'm trying to use it up, and I just used the white side, and this is 5 1/4 by 6 1/4, and then I'm going to layer this on top, which is 4 3/4 by 5 3/4. So let's go ahead. and put those together, and then they'll be ready for the pocket. And also, these become quite substantial, so keep that in mind. And some of this won't, you won't be able to see some of it because it's going to be folded, and there's going to be other pockets on top, and you'll see that in just a second here. So let's just go ahead and put this together so I don't have so many pieces laying around. Now, when you go to the website to read his paper motif, you want to take a screenshot of all of those measurements and just do your cutting ahead of time. Okay, there we go. So here's one pocket done. Now this is going to be the second pocket. Now this pocket measures 4 3/4 by 6 1/2, and it's scored on 3 sides, just like the other. And I am taking this paper, which is the opposite side of that, and I'm taking this paper and I'm going to put them together. So let's just go ahead and do that. So when you do this process, for me, when I do this, I find that it's easier to just kind of pop things together because everything is all glued and cut, and but I'm glad I did the first. I'm glad I practiced with the first time. Now, if it had turned out perfect, I would be done, right? But, well, not done, but done with one. But this also gives me a chance to, work out bugs. So here's that second pocket that's gonna fit right on there. This is the third pocket. Again, it's scored 1/2 inch on all 3 sides. This measures 2 5/8 by 6 1/2, and I want to put this on there. So I love this paper. I guess well, I started doing the heritage albums way back, I think in like, I want to say probably 1980 something, 86, 87. And then it actually started as a promise to my aunt that I would help her. And in those days we didn't have, well, we had, but we didn't have computers, is what I'm trying to say. We had typewriters. And as you can imagine, typing out books with a typewriter was, it's not like something that you could spend hours, or at least it wasn't something I could spend hours doing. So it took me a big while. And then once the computers came out, oh my gosh, that was like an answer to prayer. All right, so now we have our pockets. Let's go ahead and fold them, because there's something I want to show you, and I want to give the credit to May. She's the one that suggested it. I don't know where she came up with it, but it's a good idea. So you know how we like to miter our corners, right? So because this is already going to be so heavy, we don't want any bulk. So normally when we miter, we would just come here and just cut across that bottom there, but we're going to cut to where they intersect at the point. We're going to cut like straight up, and then we're going to curve. She calls that a pivot cut. And what happens is when you fold these like this to put the pocket, you don't have bulk there. So let's do the same thing with this. Right up to the corner, and then curve up. And we're going to do that to all of these. So let's just go ahead and get them ready to glue onto our page in our folio. So up to the point, which is right there, and then curve up. Same thing here to the point and curve up. Okay, last one. So if you try to do your pockets this way, you're gonna, I mean, that's just too much bulk. So that's why we miter them. You do that when you're sewing too, right? All right, there we go. All right. So I'm going to show you a trick that May showed me, or showed us when we were watching her, is, and I've seen it done before. Actually, I've done it before, but she just kind of reminded me. So whomever came up with it, kudos. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this, the biggest pocket, we're going to fold that down where we have the glue, and we want it to go right here to the bottom. Okay, so we're just going to glue that on there. Now, when you go to put something in your pocket like this, sometimes it hits on this seam right here, right? Sometimes it hits, so we're going to take some Scotch tape, and we're just going to place it over that seam line. And what happens is when you're putting, whatever you're putting in here, I'm going to be putting some tags, it will just, because this tape is smooth, it will just come in smoothly. And so there's that. So let's finish this pocket. And this is why tear and tape is a good thing right here, because you don't have, well, first of all, I don't have spillage with it, but you want to make sure that your pocket is not on that line. And I'm going to have to move this because, see, it's right there on the line. Okay. Let's see, I don't know why this, okay, then we're going to take this one and do the same thing. And I am going to go ahead and really burnish this down, because that was a problem with that one. I didn't burnish it down as good as I should have. And this is a good time to check anything you might need to check. Like, I see a little overhang here. right, so here we go. And this is going to fit right at the bottom. We're going to put our Scotch tape. And we're going to put our glue right here. I'm going to use a little bit of tear and tape just for the fun of it. So but you can definitely use glue if you don't have tear and tape. If you have tear and tape, you could be using it all this time. And then I would take a pick tool and just take off the release paper. And here we go. So now we have 2 pockets, right? We'll move that to the side. We're going to do our last pocket. And I'm going to go ahead and put the tear and tape on it now. It is just easier when it's flat to do that. And let me know in the comment section, which is your favorite adhesive? I went to, when we had that Black Friday sale, I went to get stock up on adhesive and it was gone. That stuff flew off that really did fly off the shelf. Okay, so I'm going to line that up again. And a little more Scotch tape. Keep it nice and smooth. Okay, oh, I think we're done with the tape. And then we're going to I'm cutting off that little bit of tear and tape there. It's going to fold over, so I don't know why it would be a big deal, but it's a good habit to get into, I guess. Okay, so off with the release paper. And if you have a hard time getting your release paper up, you could use your fingernail too if you wanted to. I just don't have a lot of fingernails all the time, so you could definitely use that. If you're having a hard time getting it up, it usually means that you didn't secure it all the way down. And then you're going to go ahead and there's our pockets. And so I am going to probably do a side pocket here too, but let's go ahead and do our you know what I did Yeah, let's go ahead and do our waterfall. Now those pieces of the waterfall are 6 by 4.5, and I actually did 1, 2, 3, 4 of these, because what I'm going to do with these is these are going to be the grandparents there, so that's why I did that. So let's go ahead, and I've already scored them. Now, if you, in this folio, I used the basic white and then just decorated it. It doesn't make it awfully heavy because this is thick white, basic white. And because our cardstock is a good weight, so I just took a hint from May and I'm just going to use the designer series paper because it's also going to have the matte and the picture on it, so it's going to be heavy. So let's just go ahead and crease down all of those. This one is, there we go. Let's see. I thought I scored them. Yeah, I did. So there's that. I don't know why I can't see that score line. There it is. And I don't know if you've used a lot of waterfalls, but I really, at first I was like, I don't know about that. But I really like them because it's kind of like using a flip flap when you do your scrapbooks. All right, so there we have our 4. So let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to put some glue right here on the tip here of this fold. And I didn't put my glue away right. See, I just let it sit here for a while. So now it's being cantankerous. So we're just going to put the glue on here. And I'm going to turn it upside down. And we're going to, we want it to be flush with right up here. So in between those lines. So here we go. Let me see. There we go, and I need my bone folder. Okay, and we want to make sure there's no adhesive there, and then we're just going to fold it and secure it again. So if you had any oozing glue, you want to take care of it right away. Then we're going to take, I think I did most of all of these the same colors. So we're going to just butt this up here like this. So when it folds down, it'll look like that, right? Okay. All right. So I don't want to get my head in the camera here, but you do definitely want to make sure you're lining them up, because especially for me, like I'm gonna have to fix this because it's hard if you're not like right over it to see. You get them a little off. And you can see there's glue oozing. So we're gonna wipe it off. I have a little rag here. you want to get that off. Okay. And if for some reason some spills over, you can always get you one of those glue erasers and just, you know, pick it up with that. It's easier to do it right away than to wait. Now I'll tell you, I had cataracts for a while, and I didn't see residues of glue, and I thought everything was okay. And then I looked back at some of my work and I went, oh my goodness. So if you're not careful, the glue can ooze and then it's just messy. So we're going to do the same thing here as we have been. We're going to butt that right up there. We want that even, and we're going to fold it. Whoops. Let's see. Okay. I'm folding it down to make sure that it's even with the one above. And I'm going to move it up just a little. There we go. Okay, and then we're going to do one more here. Now on the other one I did 8. Remember I said I did 8, but I don't need 8 flaps, 8 waterfall flaps. So I am going to do something here, and I don't know. I think I'm going to do a pocket. Now you don't want to get this underneath that, because then when you go to, when you want the waterfall, then it'll be stuck and it won't be able to work right. So you just want it right up to it. Okay, and so there we have our waterfall. Now remember, I'm going to do something here. Not quite sure what I'm going to do. That might be a good place for some embellishments. I just don't know. See, that might, something like that, but I mean, obviously not this. So there's that. Now this is going to be the closure part, so I'm going to decorate this also. So let's see, what do I still have here that I haven't used, that I meant to use? That's this. And I believe I wanted this like this. I think I was trying to decide if I wanted, I think I want this like this. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back to you. I'm going to, we've done the basics of it. And then this is a good cutting off part. And then when I come back, we will finish decorating it and put in all the tags. And then if you wanted to kind of craft along, this would be a good time for you to go ahead and cut your folio so you're ready. And I'll go over those measurements just one more time. I'm trying to make sure this is straight here. And so we're going to put it right there. Now this is not going to be, I'm just going to put adhesive, and I will be using glue, and I'll tell you why I'm using glue for this. So I don't have any gussets, I think they call it. So there's no fold lines. So here's the deal. Glue will dry, and it dries, but tear and tape doesn't dry. So I don't want to use tear and tape here, because when I go to put something in, I don't want it to stick, right? All right, so let's see here. All right, so so there we go. So I'm going to ask you to come back, and then we're going to finish up. I'm going to kind of clean up some of this stuff, and then we will do the tags, and we'll finish decorating, and then it'll be ready for my pictures. So thank you for stopping by, and don't forget, let me know which adhesive you prefer, and what do you think, which one of these do you think will work. Now obviously I'm going to have to cut this down, so you know, I was thinking if I did use these, I might use something like that, and then we'd put embellishments on top. If I do that, then I'm probably going to put this on something as well. So let me know, and hopefully I'll be back. Maybe tomorrow I'll be back and we can finish up here. And don't forget, oh, I wanted to go over the measurements with you, so let's do that. All right, so we had 3 pages, 3 8.5 by 11. And so the first page was cut, was scored at 4 and 3 3/4 with the 11-inch side at the top. We had the second 8.5 11 with the 11-inch side at the top is scored at 3/4, 1 1/4, 7 1/2, and 8 1/4. And then the last piece of cardstock, which is this one, that one was the 8.5 by 11 scored at 4 3/4 and at 5. So thank you so much for visiting, and we'll see you again tomorrow or the next day. Bye now.